Oh dear. Oh dear. Uh-oh. Okay, I have a lot to answer for and stuff I need to clarify. But for those of you who are new to the channel, hi, my name is Velison and I grind art every day on my lunch break at my 9-to-5 job, and then I go home and make videos about them afterwards. And I try to make these videos as entertaining and as stupid as possible with my limited time. Now, if you've come from my shorts, welcome. And if you've come from my last long form video, also welcome. Now, I may have clickbaited a little too hard on my last video for the sake of self-promotion, and I owe you an explanation. Hey look! This idiot's trying to do damage control! Get this fool! Oh fuck. In my last video, I claimed short form content was boring, which was a little misleading. But if I'm being real, nothing fills my ADHD brain with more joy than seeing a full artwork being completed in a span of 10 seconds. It's such a privilege to have mostly art content on my algorithm and learn new things every day rather than have actual brain rot melting my brain. The point I tried to make about oversaturated art content in my last video did not come across well at all.
Here's the thing I constantly see on my feed. It's always the same boring ass recycled trending soundbite accompanied with a time lapse, or a shot-to-shot close-up sequence of someone doing a single brushstroke and then bam, suddenly a random masterpiece.
Ugh, that was aggressive. We'll also circle back to this point later on in the video, so keep this in the back of your mind. But that was made more as a short form video intended for reels and shorts, as a little advertisement / promotion for my channel, rather than a discussion about art content in general, which now that I say aloud is ooh, yikes. But the length was a little too long, so I turned it into a normal video instead. Boy, am I bad at foresight. But if I was to make the claim that artists are artists and not content creators right at the beginning of my video, then I should have at least backed that point up instead of, you know, self-indulging about my own content. But it did open up a very important discussion about artists and the current state of the online creative community, which I am very grateful for from the comments in my last video, because not only are these valid criticisms, but these are experiences that artists have to go through every day online. Artists just want to post art, man. It's gotten a lot worse over the last few years since the TikTokification of Instagram, when they shifted their focus from photos and images to short form video content. I felt this especially during the early 2020s, when hashtags were purposely being phased out and artist exposure was becoming increasingly difficult unless you were already goated AF or were doing reels. There's also other platforms like the formerly known Twitter, but also Blue Sky is also a good alternative for artists and is a much healthier platform overall, which honestly I hope more people migrate onto, because fuck billionaires. Unfortunately, unless you were absolutely lucky or are already connected to a bigger artist that is willing to share your work, getting engagement for your art in this day and age just isn't going to cut it anymore. Which in Instagram's instance fucking boggles my mind, because not only artists are the ones getting dicked around, but other creatives too, like photographers and graphic designers. And it sucks seeing a platform intended for photos and images deviate so far from its original ethos. Bro, I just want to see cool pictures and art from people. If I wanted a video content platform to ruin my retention, then I would have gone to TikTok or YouTube for that shit. And even worse now, we gotta deal with this fuck-ass slop. And this idea that artists complain too much or have too much entitlement is so weird and out of left field. And I see this shit all the time in the comment sections of TikTok videos that discusses the detriments of AI. But fortunately, most of these comments get insanely ratioed to the ground. We are justice. But man, this whole pro-AI, anti-artist sentiment has got to be the weirdest dick-riding ass NPC behavior I've seen in a long time. Like, what are you so scared of, huh? This thing? This thing right here? Pick it up. Pick it up. Why are you so scared, huh? What was that? Was that out here? Skill issue? That's crazy. Artists have to constantly battle for their livelihoods, not only through a systematic lack of engagement, but now they gotta fight with fucking robots? And the AI rabbit hole is insanely deep, but not the topic of today's video, and I swear to God, if I talk any more about it today, then I am going to have a fucking conniption. But on that note, fuck generative AI and everything that it stands for. I know you could make the throwaway argument that artists can still post their art on Instagram without having to make content or reels. Like, what an ass backwards way of defending a platform which again was originally intended for people to share photos and images. And I get that things just can't stay the same forever and platforms need to evolve in order to grow and not lose their shareholders. But competition between platforms doesn't have to mean homogenizing the same features from each other just to get every ounce of audience retention. The beauty of social media in the late 2000s and early 2010s was that there was nuance to each platform. Every platform had something unique to bring to the table, and having a variety of them wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I enjoyed Snapchat back in the day for its temporary photo messaging feature because you weren't afraid to be goofy or entertaining to your friends. I enjoyed reading people's thoughts on Twitter, even though sometimes they can be a little TMI and slightly too unhinged. And I enjoyed Instagram for the aesthetic ass photos and art that people are very capable of creating themselves. And now everything just wants to become TikTok so bad because everybody has access to a dog-damn smartphone nowadays. Believe it or not, having everything in one platform just makes me want to leave it all together. Which is why I'm here choosing to be a creator rather than a consumer, because somehow that is a better alternative than being glued to my phone all the time.
Which I'll quickly clarify that I am doing this purely by choice, not out of obligation, which is a point I will bring up later.
And guess what? Not everybody wants to be a content creator, nor should they. But when artists are starting to feel like they have to make content other than art just to feel seen on a platform, then there is something inherently wrong with the system currently in place. Again, fortunately, you have platforms like Blue Sky where artists can all connect with each other just by posting pictures. And you still have your OGs like DeviantArt, and if you want a more professional platform for your art portfolio, then ArtStation. But even now, some of these platforms are huffing the goof juice, if you know what I'm saying. And I know people stick with these popular platforms just because they've been around for longer and have a higher general user base. Which is also fair, but man, creatives have really been getting the short end of the stick lately for no reason whatsoever other than to fuel the rich, aka capitalism. But let's circle around back in regards to my point about content oversaturation. Honestly, what niche isn't oversaturated at this point? It isn't just artists, it's content everywhere. It's the same copy and paste cookie cutter formula that I see across the board that use the same attention grabbing techniques to maintain audience retention. And art content is not even the worst of it. Hell, it's not even bad. It's genuinely good content, and like I said before, I do enjoy art progress videos and time lapses. Okay, buddy, you backtracking now? Shut the fuck up. But using them as a crutch to promote my different take on art content just wasn't it. And artists should continue to post whatever the fuck they want in order to grow. Yeah, sure, a lot of these reels and TikToks all follow the same formula, but again, what genre doesn't? Gaming, finance, news, and even some comedy skits. And I'd be a dog damn hypocrite if I said I was unique otherwise. Again, shout out to my #1 hot boy. So no, artists shouldn't be obliged on making content on top of a skill that they've already spent countless hours of their lives on honing and improving. But there should be better alternatives from the bigger platforms to promote hardworking creatives that doesn't encourage just video content. Like seriously, bring back the usefulness of hashtags. That shit was so good for artists. I don't see why we can't utilize both the video algorithm and hashtags for artists. ¿Por qué no los dos? Hey! But content creation for me is a personal choice. And the oversaturation and repetitiveness of content is merely an observation. I've just noticed a tiny little gap in this whole art content creation sphere where I want to bridge the gap between posting what I draw and making it as entertaining as I possibly can. Again, this is merely a choice I'm making and is something I always wanted to do anyway. I'm not here to set some ridiculous bar or a new standard for artists. Artists should be allowed to grow by doing what they do best. And that's making art, baby. And you know what? I'm gonna make it a goal to grow this channel big enough so I can start glazing smaller artists who are trying to make it. And if you're a smaller artist struggling to grow and you don't want to make content for it, then let me be your guinea pig. Put your art account name and your social media handles in the comments below, or follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM there. Not only do I want to use this channel to grow as an artist myself, but as a platform to bring other creatives up with me who are also struggling. So let's fucking do it. I'll figure out whether I want to show artists at the end of my daily videos or have it all in one big video once a week so we can all follow each other off that. The reason why I do daily videos after my 9-to-5 job is to show people who want to engage in art that it can be done even on a busy schedule. And I'm not talking about content creation, I'm talking about getting better at art and the act of practicing drawing every day. Again, I don't live with my parents, so I have to deal with bills, rent, groceries, chores, and my social life on top of all of this. The reason I do what I do now is because I've noticed when I get home from work, I used to sit down and doom scroll on my phone for hours on end without even realizing it. And the thing is, I have so many other hobbies like gaming, skating, gym, art, Pokemon cards, music, and after I get home, I have seemingly no energy to do any of those hobbies after I'm done with all my chores. But the moment I told myself, hey, let's just not live day by day and actually work on a long-term goal, aka making daily videos, was when I stopped telling myself I was too tired to be doing the things that I loved. And not only that, instead of using my hour-long lunch break to doom scroll on my phone on my job, I decided to take advantage of that time and use it to draw and record my progress. Look, I'm not trying to be motivational because fuck that cringe shit. All I'm saying is that the world is your oyster and free will is a beautiful thing, so utilize it because you'll never know where it'll get you. Look, I turned 30 in October this year. Yeah, I'm monk status now. And I'm not gonna spend the final years of my 20s wondering if I could have done shit differently, so here I am doing that and changing that now. And if it means working through my 9 to 5 to get there, then so be it. And if you're an artist and you are struggling to get yourself out there, then come and join me in this process. It'll be fun, I promise. But anyway, there weren't any daily videos for this week's challenge because guess who got food poisoning? Yay! It was also a public holiday on Monday and I ended up staying home on Wednesday and Thursday to recover. And fortunately, I'm a smaller channel, so thankfully nobody gives enough of a fuck that I don't upload videos for a week. But again, starting from next week, we'll resume to our regular program of drawing every day on my lunch break and uploading a video about it every night. But again, for those of you who've been following me for my shorts, we're moving on to regular videos from now on. Just because I don't want to be limited to the 3-minute length of reels and shorts. And unfortunately for you guys, I won't stop yapping. But that's all I wanted to say for the end of this video. Again, comment below your art user handles and what platform you post prominently on, so that way I can go through your profiles and I'll start glazing the shit out of your art in my future videos. And if you don't feel safe telling your username in the comments, just follow and DM me on Instagram, your username and your platform. No links though, just because I'm sus as fuck, but just tell me the platform and then I'll have a look over there. Anyway, follow or subscribe to me on any of my platforms here, only if you feel like it though. Because God forbid a man wants to make a career out of his art in his late 20s. Love you and appreciate you, and I will see you every weekday next week for the proper week 6 challenge. Bye!